Excuse me for 1 second. I'll be right back with you.
Perfect. So we're here. If you're asking to turn on a light behind him or something. Nico, guys, come in and take a seat. What? If you're in Jewish history, please come in and take a seat. Boys, we're going to be online. I need you up toward the front of the room today.
Oh, you have five. Eric, get 2 10s. Eric, Nico, give your money to Eric.
So bad.
Nico, give your money to Eric.
No, it's not. I don't want
Okay.
I got 15.
Oh, my God. Is it good?
What's 2 10?
Jocko. 2 10s.
You're bringing cash in it.
Steffi, take a seat and put your phone away.
Change your 20.
If you're in Jewish history with me, come in and sit down.
You ever change for 20?
What?
I think
That's phenomenal.
Guys,
You didn't finish Jewish history.
Wait, you guys aren't going together? You guys are
Simon, do you have change for 20? Go to the store.
How did I do that?
No, you put my computer on your app. No. No.
Come in, take a seat.
Yeah.
No one else I can control.
Wait, let him do that.
Okay. Come in, take a seat. I'm going to be passing out to you.
I think that's a no. No, let's keep going.
Boys, I'm going to be passing out. Sit down. I'm going to be passing out to you the notebooks that you're going to be using for Jewish history.
Why do we need a notebook if it's online?
We're going to be creating actually a textbook of the reading. Because when we do reading in class, you're not going to have.
Hey. And hi, Samantha.
Hi.
That's a gift.
Hi.
We have Dudek is with us.
Hi, Shandy. I'm actually going to turn the computer around at some point so you can see the class.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
We're just waiting for the school in Pittsburgh to join us. I want to give them another minute or two before we get started.
Okay. Should I turn you around?
You can go ahead and turn, yeah.
Boys, please sit down. Come a little bit closer today.
Hey, everybody. Long time no see. I was just
Hi,
at the school yesterday.
Boys, Jacob, you might not be in a great place over there. And Yonatan, I think I can see you. Can you scoot a tiny bit more this way?
Wait, how come you can't see me? Oh, there I am.
Hi, kids. Can you see me?
There you go.
I got you.
Great.
So Mrs. Zudek is
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Zudek.
Rabbi, do you have 2 10s?
Okay.
Change for 20.
So we're waiting for the other students that we take this course with. Boys, you don't need your computers open. You don't need your phones out.
Just remember the link.
Sorry. I don't want to see a phone or a computer open right now. You don't need that. I'm going to be passing out your binders. I'm going to be passing.
I think I have the 20 and change. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so in the meantime, kids, I just want to, first of all, I want to ask you, are you Clippers fans or Lakers fans?
Lakers.
Oh, yeah? Okay. All right, good. So you've got Blake Griffin. He's good? He's good?
Yeah, he's okay.
He's on the Clippers.
He's on the Clippers, man.
Yeah, I know he's on the Clippers. None of you are Clippers fans?
I hate the Clippers.
Well,
Oh, my gosh. Okay, what about Lakers? Are you all Lakers fans?
No, Kobe sucks.
I'm a diehard.
Okay, then I guess we won't have that discussion. What about Dodgers? Are you LA Dodgers fans? Okay. You've got the best pitcher, you know. The best pitcher in baseball.
For sure.
Okay. I just want to go through your names and just if you could raise your hand and let me know who you are. Daniel Aviv. Daniel.
You can't see him.
Is Daniel here?
Yeah, he's here, but you can't see him.
Okay. Eliyahu Cohen. Eliyahu.
Hi, Jimmy.
I got my own one.
Yaakov Helwani.
Yes, why not?
Go up.
In the back.
Older.
Gentlemen.
He's in the back.
Okay. Joseph Shemulian.
He's over there.
Thank you. David Valenci.
Oh, it's good. Hey.
I'm here for.
More.
Is David here?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Okay. Noah Wackenheim.
Noah, are you here?
I think he just went to the bathroom, I saw.
Noah just went to the bathroom.
Okay. Elijah Wilkenfeld.
Eli. Elijah, woo. Hello, woo.
Elijah, do you want to be called Eli? What do you want to be called?
Yeah, Eli.
We have a Wookiee.
Okay. Jacob Wilkenfeld.
What's up?
Okay. Natan Zamanzada.
Present.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I need your attention now. I absolutely need your attention. A gentleman in the standing, can you please sit down? Can you please sit down? Thank you. I need to go through a couple of things with you in the meantime until the other gentlemen get here. But I need everybody to sit down, pay attention, because we have a lot to get accomplished today. Is that clear? You are in a very unique situation as opposed to most of the other students. You're already in a high-tech school, but there are certain expectations when we're having this class, and one of the expectations is that you come on time, and that you sit down and that you're quiet, and that you participate, but also have respect for one another and give each other opportunities to talk, but not talking together. Clear? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Natan Zamanzada, where are you?
Present.
Sorry?
Right
You're
here.
Natan?
Made that sound not personal.
Okay. Jacob Leichter.
What?
That's how you
Where's Jacob?
Jacob Lester. He's right there.
Oh, the handsome one.
Daniel Melamed.
Daniel Melamed. He's not here.
Okay. And Shmuel Olis.
No, Kelvin.
Wallace. Shmuel's not here either. Oh! Shmuel's not here.
Okay. Mrs. Houtman.
Miss Houtman? Miss Houtman, she's calling you. She says yes.
Okay, yeah. All right, so there are a couple of students that I haven't met. Shmuel Olis is not here. Is he absent? Is he, do you know? Is he in the classroom?
No.
Not in the classroom.
Okay. All right. So we'll just tell him that he, should be here and come to class on time. Aryeh, any luck with with Pittsburgh?
I'm trying to find the Pittsburgh folks. I think you should get started, and hopefully they'll join us soon.
All right.
So, first of all, I wanted to welcome you to this class. I've been reading your posts, and most of them are really, really impressive. But I just want to talk a little bit about expectations. I know that when we go on a post, generally when you're emailing friends or you're texting friends, you speak very informally. On a discussion board, it has to be much more formal. In other words, I don't want you to use any judgments of great quote, great post. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let's go Lakers. Nothing. No, I don't want that on my discussion board. Clear? I want you to explain the answer, address the question on the post in formal language, and also when you respond to each other, I just want you to put whether you agree or disagree and why. Be very clear as to why you agree and why you disagree. When you make a comment on a post, it's really significant that you back up your post with facts that you've read. How are you finding the reading, kids? How are you finding the study guide? Raise your hand one at a time, please.
I like it.
You know how it is.
Yes. The gentleman.
I like it.
Yeah, it's manageable, correct?
Yeah, it's very manageable. Yes.
It's for the most part.
You know, equal expert.
All right. So what I'd like to the second unit is open now. So you're going to start doing the unit. Did everybody hand in their analysis? I didn't, as of yesterday. Many of you did not hand in your analysis, but it was due. So please make sure that you hand it in, and I will give your grades back over the weekend, Bezrat Hashem. All right? So I wanted to ask you, first of all, if any of you, yes? Hi, you have a question?
All right, one analysis. I thought I had to do like 2 quizzes. He's asking what analysis is.
It was on the discussion board, correct?
Oh, I did it.
Yeah, the discussion board, right. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. You did all your posts, correct?
I did 2 quizzes and a discussion.
Okay, very good. Unit 2 is up. Start working on that now. I want to ask, are any of you immigrants?
Ellie Cohen.
Ellie Cohen, are you an immigrant? Where did you immigrate from?
Persia.
Persia. Ah, wow. And anybody else? Anybody else emigrate from Persia? Like Mamash emigrate? Like Ellie? Yes, a gentleman in the back raising his hand. Who's that?
I'm from Persia. Like the 1500s.
Okay, and where did you immigrate from?
Right, yeah, right.
He said he's from the 1500s, Persia.
Oh, you're from yeah, well, sorry, but that ship has sailed a long time ago. But,
It's like a month.
Ellie, so tell me, what was it, Ellie, I need everybody quiet, please. Ellie, tell me what it was like. What were your experiences when you came to America? In a very, very quickly. What were some of the obstacles you encountered, Ellie?
Like 2 different worlds.
Sorry?
He said it was a drastic change. It was like 2 different worlds.
Okay, thank you. In what way? Ellie, in what way?
Like the Illuminati there and here. It's different. What are you saying?
He said something about Illuminati.
That was so.
Okay, I'm asking you a serious question.
Good. Well.
All right, I'm going to go on. Who can? We're going to, gentlemen. I need you to. I'm waiting.
Guys.
Okay. I'm an immigrant. I emigrated from America to Israel. And even though you think that it would be such an easy transition, because Israel it shares a lot of the same values as the West and American culture, there were still a lot of differences that I had to encounter. Suddenly, I'm coming to a country where Hebrew, although I can speak it, is still not my mother tongue. And also, I had to learn the culture. I had to learn simple things that I was doing all my life. I had to relearn as an immigrant.
Mrs. Zivik, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think the school in Pittsburgh just joined us. Can you guys hear us? Hillel of Pittsburgh, can you guys hear us? Okay. Okay, great. We can hear you, Rabbi, but we cannot see you. But can you hear us?
And the music?
Okay. So as long as we can hear each other, that's the most important thing. So I think we're okay. So Mrs. Zudek, yeah, I think you're all set.
Okay, but I have this music in the background.
Yeah,
that is very, very
why don't you hang up the audio? It doesn't the conference call. I don't think we need that anymore. So because everybody's online, and that should solve that problem.
Excellent.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, Yeshiva Hillel of Pittsburgh. I just want to quickly take a very quick. I want to take attendance here. Josh Hertzberg, are you here?
Here.
Okay. Philip, Ben, Moshe, Evan, Mendel, Max, Levi, Eitan, Yaakov, Avi Press. I want to welcome everybody to this new class, and we're very, very excited. I know that many of you have already done the work and have read the assignments, and this is really the journey of American Jewish immigrants from Europe to America. And when you think about it, you look at today and how successful the Jewish community is and how powerful the Jewish community is in America. When you look back at what they came from, one of the most outstanding aspects or attributes of the Jewish community is their ability to rise to any occasion and the ability to adapt. And we see that very, very poignantly in your literature. So I'd like to start. I'm going to turn over to a PowerPoint now, and I would like you to identify yourself if you're going to answer. Identify, and we're going to quiz you a little bit on your reading. Okay, so I'm going to turn over to a PowerPoint.
All right.
Okay, so who can tell me what the difference is between emigration and immigration? Let's start with emigration. What's the difference between emigration? Can I have identify yourself, please?
Natan Zamanzada, 11th grade, Yeshiva High Tech. Immigration is where you emigrate, is where you come from something, and then immigrate is where you go into something. No, it's not. When you emigrate from somewhere, you emigrate from America, you immigrate to Israel.
No. Emigrate is like
Other way around. All right, my bad. You immigrate to America, you emigrate to Israel.
No.
Wow. Hello, boys.
My uncle's Ben Roethlisberger, by the way.
Hey, guys.
Hey. Hi. Hey.
All right, we have Hillel of Pittsburgh. We can see you guys now. That's great.
We're like united by one.
So, Mrs. Zudek, you got audio and visual with everybody now.
Guys, you know who Ben Roethlisberger is? It's my uncle.
Mrs. Zudek, are you there?
Hello? Maura, are you there?
Okay, folks, let's just I'm going to ask everybody just to be silent for a minute just so we can see what happened with Mrs. Zudek.
This is what.
Mrs. Zudek, are you with us? Mrs. Zudek, are you there? Okay, it appears that we've lost Mrs. Zudek, so we're going to try to get her back. Just hold tight for a second. Let's see what we can do. Okay, Shandy, Mrs. Zudek, are you with us? Mrs. Zudek, we can see you. We cannot hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
We got you
can you
back.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, the connection was lost.
Okay.
Okay. Can you tell me? Can you tell me the difference between emigration and immigration? I'm so sorry. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Yes. Identify your name, please.
Natan Zamanzadeh, Yeshiva High Tech, 11th grade, Los
Okay. Hi.
Hi. You immigrate.
Okay, that's enough. Hi. Just
You immigrate from a place. You immigrate
immigrate.
from, and you emigrate to.
So actually, that's a little bit of the opposite. Okay, you emigrate. You emigrate from a place,
Enter a place.
and you immigrate to a place. Okay.
No, wait, hold on a second. Wait, 1 second. Just one. Are you joking or are you serious? Is it immigrate
Yes,
from?
she is.
Wait, it's immigrate?
You immigrate, you enter.
Okay.
When you emigrate,
That's what I said.
So
Same-
when you emigrate, emigration is the act of leaving a place, especially a native country, to go and live elsewhere.
That's what I
And
said.
immigration, guys, I need you quiet, please. Immigration is the act of entering a new country to settle permanently. All right, who can identify who can identify this person? You read about her in your surveys. Who is this person?
Yeah, I totally remember her.
Yeah, Maya Angelou.
Anybody? Okay, guys. All right, gentlemen. Okay, I just want to tell you, this is very critical. In the next time that we meet, you will have a quiz on the material that you read. So it's really critical that you read your material. The person that was just identified, can anybody tell me who that person was? You read about her.
Hello, Angel.
What was her name?
Mary Anton.
Right, her name was Mary Anton. Exactly. And she wrote a lot about the immigration experience. Okay. What would this be?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's go here.
Oh, I was doing it before. Every time I did that, I was like, oh, no.
This is the Pale of the Settlement, and we saw what was so significant about the Pale of the Settlement for the immigrants. Here, sorry.
Why is it doing that at all?
Okay. How about some students from Pittsburgh? Philip Stein. Can you tell me this pink area? What is that called? Philip? Gentlemen? Okay, this is called the Pale of the Settlement. And what was significant about the Pale of the Settlement?
It was brutal.
Were all the
It was what?
The Fertile Crescent.
It was where all the Jews were what? They were forced to live in these particular areas in Russia. Right. After the 1850s, most Jews in the Pale of the Settlement remained working in the former occupations. Is that true or false?
It's true.
Okay. Actually, it's false, because once they moved in their settlements, it became very crowded, and they had to look for other means of employment. There was so much competition. What would this be a picture of? What do you think's going on here?
They're leaving Egypt. They're leaving Egypt. That was really stereotypical.
Really? They're leaving Egypt? I don't think so. But they are leaving somewhere. What significant issue, what event was going on in Europe at this time? Jews constantly, part of life in Europe in the 1800s was being thrown out of one city to another. They would have to leave their cities, and sometimes they would have to flee in the middle of the night and leave everything behind.
Watch the kids. Yeah.
Prior to the 1900s, most Jews in Syria, because you read about the Jews in Syria, were able to flourish and were affluent. Is that true or false? Ellie Wilkinsfield, do you think that's true or false?
True. It's a true.
Good. It was true. They were very, very wealthy. Conditions for Syrian Jews deteriorated after the 1900s. Syrian Jews were accused of killing Christian children and using their blood for rituals. This accusation is called what?
It's called.
Blood libel.
Blood libel. Exactly. Right. Okay. Besides the obvious, what would you call this painting?
The water carrier.
Okay, the water carrier. Why is that? Why would somebody use that as a subject of their painting?
Wow. They used to do to carry the water in the morning.
Identify your name, please. Identify yourself.
Yeah,
why would they give that title? Why would they use this as the subject of the painting? What does it represent?
I can't see either.
Max Edelstein, can you tell me what this might represent?
What it might represent the hard labor that was forced upon the Jews at the time when they were impaled.
Exactly. There weren't a lot of options for the Jews, so they really were. They were subjected to all sorts of menial labor and very difficult working conditions. Okay, I want you to look carefully at this painting and tell me, based on what you're reading, what this possibly could be. What scene is this depicting?
They're being held captive. They're war prisoners.
They're war prisoners. They're being held captive. Every time there was a battle in Europe, the borders kept on changing, and the Jews would be held prisoner or they'd be thrown out of their cities. But there are other things that were going on here as well. Many of the Jews were actually conscripted into the army against their will. They would have to join the army even if they didn't want to. Where is this taking place? What does this look like to you? Daniel Aviv, do you know what this might be? A picture of what?
We can't see.
You can't see it? It's a Sephardic shul. It's actually a shul, a synagogue in Syria. No. This is what the synagogue in Syria looked like before the latest influx of Syrian Jews to America. in the 1980s, actually. So let's talk about how did the Jews arrive in Poland and Russia. The Jews first came to Poland during the Renaissance period, which historians generally date from about 1350 to 1650. What was life like for the Jews in Poland initially, from 1350 to 1650? What do you think?
It was good for them at first, but then it got bad.
Right, because exactly. Who was that? Please identify yourself.
Eli. No.
Very good. The reason that it was good for the Jews, and this is a very important trend, and I want you to follow trends in history, because this is the period of the Renaissance, and Renaissance means rebirth, the rebirth of knowledge. When you live in an open society, generally speaking, there's going to be much more tolerance, and you're not going to have as much discrimination and as much persecution. So for the Jews in Poland, Poland was also undergoing a renaissance. But once borders were rearranged and once Poland started deteriorating, the borders were rearranged, and many Polish cities where Jews resided now were considered under Russian domain.
Yeah.
But even before the splitting up of Poland, there were already established Jewish communities in Russia. They were a small community, and it was a very interesting story. Did you ever hear of the king of the Khazars, Bulan, the king of the Khazars? Okay. It's an interesting story, and Shmuel HaNagid in Spain in the 8th century had correspondences with the king of Khazar and Yehuda HaLevi. Did anybody ever hear the Kuzari?
Yeah.
Yeah, by Yehuda HaLevi. It's a book of philosophy. He is actually having this conversation with the king of the Khazars, who is very curious about the 3 different religions. And finally, he's convinced of the validity of the Jewish religion, and he converts. And he brings his Judaism and establishes it in a Russian city of Kiev. And so there was a Jewish community in Kiev. And but later on, as time went on and you reach the period of the Tsars, terrible things start to happen because the Russian Orthodoxy takes over. Have you heard of terrible?
Is that a verb?
I didn't do that. I tried to save you.
Gentlemen? Okay, you've got when the Jews were under Tsarist Russia, the Christianity became very powerful, and they held sway, and there was a tremendous increase in anti-Semitism. And you have these 3 personalities played a significant role in the lives of the Jews. So you have Ivan the Terrible, who ordered all the Jews to convert. You've got Peter the Great. Even though he was anti-Semitic, he realized that if you kill out all the Jews, you're going to ruin the economy, because the Jews were always very adept economically. And so he allowed the Jewish bankers to remain in Moscow. And then you have Catherine the Great, and she actually expelled a lot of Jews from Russia. So this guy here is Ivan the Terrible, Peter the Great, and Catherine the Great. So already in Russia, you have this deterioration of the economic and social status of the Jews. And the poor economic situation of Russian Jews was aggravated by frequent wars and repeated expulsion. And the Jews lost all their rights. They really couldn't own land. They were made permanently dependent on the landowner. So that's the position of the people that you are reading about in your survey. Then there are certain laws that come into effect, and these are called the May laws. And these were they were meant to be temporary measures, but in fact they lasted for 30 years. And these laws restricted Jews from obtaining any land outside the existing towns they were in. They could not go any further. And you also have between the Jews not being able to attain new land, between the Jews living in the Pale, life was very, very difficult. What were some of the difficulties that the Jews experienced living in the Pale? Natan, what were some of the difficulties? Natan, what were some of the difficulties?
They were oppressed a lot. They were always having to move.
Okay, but they lived, if they were stuck in the Pale, what would be if all the Jews were stuck within certain regions in Russia, if they lived in towns in Russia, what would affect them? How would they be affected by this? What would be oppressive about it?
Their religion was, they were sometimes being forced to convert, or they were helpless.
True, they were forced to convert, they were persecuted religiously. What about Yaakov Helwani? What do you think? How else might they have been oppressed? What about Yaakov Kamenetsky? Do you have any ideas of why was it such a terrible thing to be stuck in the Pale?
They have very limited resources and...
Excellent. Right, they had very limited resources. They had tremendous competition for jobs, not only amongst their fellow Jews, but other non-Jews that lived there. Now, there were certain areas that the government, in the southern part of the Pale, where the government actually paid people to live there and to become farmers. How is that for the Jews? What do you think? Mendel, what do you think? Was it good for the Jews?
I don't know. Good answer.
Okay, well, it's an honest answer. What about you, Phil?
No idea. Well, I don't know. Question?
Think about it. The Jews living in, they're now being given land in the south. You don't want to live in crowded towns in this Pale? I'm going to give you land in the south, in southern Russia, and you can be farmers there. I'm going to give you money. So do you think that everybody said, okay, let's go? Sounds like a good deal. Evan, what do you think?
I think that it'd be a good fit.
It would have been a good thing, and many Jews actually did go to the south. But what are some of the drawbacks?
Drugs.
Sorry?
They didn't have jobs.
They didn't have jobs. They had to be farmers, and the Jews were not. They were not very adept at being farmers. They weren't used to being farmers. So that was a problem. And the other part of it was that even though there was a lot of land for everybody, there was more opportunity for anti-Semitism, and very frequently the Christians that lived in the rural areas were highly anti-Semitic and would attack the Jews. And the Jews suffered during these attacks. They were called pogroms. And so it was really a lose-lose situation living in Russia. One of the worst pogroms was the pogrom of 1903 in Kishinev. And 45 Jews were killed by the mob. There was, they burned the synagogues and the Sifrei Torah. 700 houses were destroyed. Look at this picture. I mean, it was terrible, terrible devastation. Another very, very difficult law that was passed was a law called the Cantonist Program. Anybody have any idea what the Cantonist Program was? Okay. The Cantonist Program was a program whereby 40% of the Jewish population, a 40% higher concentration of the Jewish population had to be conscripted to the army. They were forced to go to the army. Why would that be such a terrible infliction on the Jews that they had to go to the army? Noah, what do you think?
Noah. Which Noah?
Noah Wackenheim.
Joshua?
Why do you think being forced to the army was so devastating to the Jews?
They had.
Anybody want to help? Daniel? Daniel Malamed? Well, think about it. Kids, think about it. Why would it be so terrible for the population of European Jews in the 1800s to be forced into the army?
Wow. Because they needed soldiers?
They would have, yeah. So, the Jews in Israel are forced to go to the army too. Is it so terrible? No, it's not terrible. It's something that they expect to do. Why was it so terrible for the Jews in Russia?
Can she not hear us?
I don't know, but I sure my answer like 9 times. They needed soldiers.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, I hear a lot of talking, but it's not focused on the question.
Hello?
So,
Okay.
okay.
Can you hear us or no?
I'm having a little trouble hearing you. Sorry.
We can hear you, but there's a lot of seems to be a lot of side noise going on. So if somebody has an answer, we just need that one person to speak
Right.
clearly.
Daniel, can you give us the answer?
Sorry? Okay. So I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing.
Mrs. Zudik, I'm going to actually interrupt here because we have no idea why we're being mocked by the other school.
Are you being mocked by the other school? I'm so sorry.
That every time we answer something, the other school breaks out into laughter for some reason.
I'm so sorry. I'm not hearing that.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that either.
Really?
On the side.
Is Rabbi Edmond there?
I don't know what you're talking about.
So
Okay. I'm hoping that is definitely going to stop. I hope that's very clear, because that's not tolerated here.
I've been watching the cameras, and to be honest, I haven't really. I could be. I don't. They're small images, but I haven't noticed anything personally.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we can hear it on this side when their entire group breaks out into laughter, and perhaps the rabbi on the other side can answer that.
Okay. We're going to make sure from here on in that is just not going to happen. Okay. I just want to say that the situation for the Jews being conscripted in the army meant that the Jews would lose their Jewish identity. There was no way that they could uphold their religious practices in the Christian army in Russia. And they would be forced pretty much to convert, or they wouldn't survive. And so a lot of Jewish children were lost. They were conscripted from the ages of 12 to 35. So they'd be lost to Judaism. So what the Jewish kids would do, and maybe some of your great-grandparents might have told your families, is that many Jewish children either they maimed themselves, they cut their fingers off so they wouldn't have to go into the army. That's how desperate they were not to do that, because they were lost to Judaism. What about the Syrian?
Mrs. Zudik, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know Yeshiva High Tech had to sign out. I think we're at the end of the period, so.
Okay. So I just want to tell you that all these, I just want to conclude by telling you that the situation was rife and ready for Jews to make a decision. Do we stay or do we go? And you're going to be reading about the push-pull effect of why people opted to leave and why people opted to stay in Unit 2. I'm really sorry for the technical difficulties initially. It was nice meeting you, and I am looking forward and eager to reading your posts and your assignments.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Shane, are you there?